The Exodus and parting of the Red Sea. The people of Israel were finally free. After generations of slavery in Egypt, the mighty hand of God had broken Pharaoh's hold. Families gathered their belongings in haste, their hearts filled with both excitement and fear. They marched out of Egypt, led by Moses, guarded by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. But Pharaoh's heart hardened once more. Regret filled his mind as he thought of the labor he had lost. He summoned his army, chariots, horses, and soldiers, and commanded them to chase after the Israelites. Soon, the sound of pounding hooves and clattering chariots echoed across the desert. Fear spread quickly among the Israelites when they saw the dust rising behind them. Ahead of them lay the sea, vast, unmovable, impossible to cross. Behind them thundered Pharaoh's army. The people cried out in despair. "Moses, why have you brought us here? Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you have led us into the wilderness to die?" Fear turned to panic. But Moses stood firm. With faith unshaken, he declared, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still." That night, the pillar of cloud moved between the Egyptians and the Israelites, creating a wall of protection. Darkness covered Pharaoh's army, while light shone over God's people. The sea still raged before them, but God's plan was about to unfold. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, "Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water, so that the Israelites can go through on dry ground." Moses lifted his staff and stretched his hand over the waters. At once, the wind began to blow, mighty and fierce, tearing through the night. The waters trembled, surged, and then began to part. A path formed in the midst of the sea, walls of water rising high on the right and on the left. The seabed, once impossible to tread, turned dry beneath their feet. Amazement filled the Israelites as they stepped onto the dry path. Families carried their children, elders leaned on their staffs, and flocks moved hurriedly forward. The people crossed between towering walls of water, each step a testimony of God's power and deliverance. Pharaoh's army pursued them into the sea. The sound of chariots roared again, soldiers shouting as they rushed after God's people. But as the last Israelite reached the far shore, God commanded Moses once more, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen." Moses raised his staff again, and the waters came crashing down. The sea roared as the mighty walls collapsed, swallowing Pharaoh's chariots, horses, and soldiers. Not one survived. The enemies of Israel were swept away by the very waters that had saved God's people. On the far shore, the Israelites looked back in awe. They saw the sea come once more, and the mighty Egyptian army gone forever. Their fear turned to joy, their despair into songs of victory. Together they lifted their voices, "The Lord is my strength and my song, He has become my salvation. Who among the gods is like you, O Lord, majestic in holiness, awesome in glory, working wonders?" That day, the people of Israel knew without doubt that God was with them. He had made a way where there was no way. He had delivered them from the strongest army in the world. And their faith in the Lord, and in His servant Moses, grew stronger than ever. The Exodus and the parting of the Red Sea became more than just an escape story. It became the eternal reminder that when the world says there is no way, God says, "I will make a way." Message: faith in God's power can turn impossibility into victory. He delivers His people, no matter how hopeless the situation seems.